Everyone, JagTagger93 back in with another edition of Step by Step with a Casual Cody, the vlog where I talk about things related to fighting games, be it my boomer memories of arcades back in the day, reacting to current events that catch my interest, or just ranting about current fighting games I'm playing. Today I want to give my take on the whole issue of players using Wi-Fi connections to play online, and why I think the argument may, at times, be bordering a little too close to gatekeeping. But before I get into that, I just want to quickly update about what I've been up to. In Street Fighter V, I've unlocked every single achievement except for the one where you get if you earn over 1 million fight money. I'm currently at around 800,000-ish fight money, but yeah, it's a friggin' slog, and really not a fun one either. This achievement was definitely made around how Street Fighter V used to award fight money. Like, with Season 1, I think, you'd get a couple thousand fight money for just playing online, but they nerfed it so badly now that you get like 500 at most. Yeah, you can get more for leveling characters through survival modes and trials, but when the game is awarding 2,000 to 4,000 fight money a clip, after, a half hour, an hour of effort, and the achievement is for 1 million fight money, yeah, it becomes a really, really boring slog, one that's really not fun at all. And yeah, that's the thing. The problem is, I can't just leave something almost done. Like, if I start something and I get a quarter of the way in, yeah, okay, I can leave it behind. If I start something and I'm halfway done, a bit harder. But if I start something and it's like 97% done, I just can't stop. And that's where I'm at right now with Street Fighter V with this achievement. I'm so close to getting that platinum. But yeah, right now I've just been doing a lot of survival, grinding out the trials, and haven't been online nearly as much. So, although I'm doing all this, I started to feel like I'm starting to lose a little bit of interest in Street Fighter V. I was hoping with the recent announcement of new DLC fighters that I would be, I'd feel interested again. But not so much. Now, being someone who loves Street Fighter 1, I was really hoping with the announcement we would see some SF1 callbacks like Red Suit, Joe, or Eagle. But no such luck. Instead we got Dan, Rose, Oro, Akira from Rival School, which is pretty cool, and a mystery 5th fighter. Now that would be alright, I suppose, if they were all out now at once. But nope. Capcom is releasing them slowly over the course of the coming year, with the first one being Dan in winter 2020. And unfortunately, I don't think I'll really stay invested in Street Fighter V that much longer, and really, I don't know if I can really see me playing until, past winter for those other characters. Really, I can see me going right back to Tekken. But if I do, I might have to rename this vlog, I guess, as there's no Cody in Tekken, and I am winning Hurong in Tekken. It would be kind of weird, though, too, because one of my little gripes with Street Fighter V is how often I run into Akuma, and I know if I play Tekken, I'm going to see a whole lot more Akuma. Just can't get away from this guy. Anyway, on to the meat of today's vlog, Wi-Fi players in online fighting games. Now, when you want to play online, you got two options. Either go wireless or have a wired connection. If you're using a cable, it's easy. Just plug your console or PC into the router and you should have a much more stable connection than if you're using Wi-Fi. Which means that there's going to be less lag, less issues, and an overall smoother experience for both players. Which is really what you want when you're playing a fighting game. Having lag, stuttering, dropped frames really makes reading and reacting to your opponent a lot more frustrating, and it feels like robbery too if you lose because of it. And if you're on Wi-Fi, that kind of thing is much more likely to happen. Now, a lot of Wi-Fi users say, well, my Wi-Fi connection is good. My console is right next to my router, and so on and so on. And you know what? I believe you. You might have the best Wi-Fi connection in the world, but the thing about Wi-Fi is that it's just so damn unpredictable. There's so many weird things that could happen with a Wi-Fi signal, and that can cause a sudden interrupt in the signal and cause, a unpredictable spike, even if it's perfect, like 99% of the time. For example, I remember back when I still lived with my folks, I made the discovery that whenever anyone opened the garage door, it would result in a sudden lag spike, which was horrible. It's almost better to play a match that's just completely laggy, and you get used to it and adjust, as opposed to playing a match that plays really smoothly, and then suddenly it just starts lagging out. So the problems of Wi-Fi versus wired has many players right now wishing for an option in Street Fighter V to select which kind of players you wish to play against, wired or Wi-Fi. However, I think that's a really bad idea, because here's what's going to happen. You give players that option, and everyone, or pretty much everyone, is going to pick wired opponents. even Wi-Fi players are going to pick wired opponents, believing that their own connection is stable and they want to play against opponents with as stable connection as possible. And the thing is too, if you're on Wi-Fi and your connection's unstable, it's totally possible that it may look okay on your end, but to everyone else it looks horrible. And I've also seen other players wishing that Wi-Fi was just simply not an option at all, that if you play online you can only do it with wired connection. And I think that kind of sucks too. You see, games thrive by their communities, and I'm a huge believer in making games as accessible as possible to as many people as possible. I think a better option, which is kind of a compromise of the two, being that people on Wi-Fi connections can only play against people on Wi-Fi connections, unless they're in a party or invited or whatever. Now, I don't want Wi-Fi players to feel left in the dust here. I understand that for a lot of players, having a wired connection isn't possible. For example, a lot of them are probably still kids living at home using their parents' internet when Wi-Fi. And even so, I think that they should be able to enjoy the game that we all do. Now, when lag happens, you can never be 100% sure if it's a player's connection or the actual netcode of the game. Both players can be on cables and still have it happen. And that's exactly what we saw at this weekend's North American CPT, especially in the Myers vs. Punk match. Now, the lag in that match was actually pretty noticeable to viewers. And the thing is, Myers came out on top, but Punk felt salty. And you know what? I think he was totally in his right to feel salty. Now, you can't take away Myers' win, you can't, but, I get feeling emotional. And when someone speaks out emotionally, I kind of get it, as long as it doesn't carry over to anything else. But, this issue of netcode continues to be an issue with Street Fighter V's competitive scene online, and I'm not really sure what can be done right now. Maybe have people play more sets over more days? I don't know. Now again, I can't blame Punk for feeling pissed about what happened. It's a human emotion and totally natural to feel that way. And he likely regrets angry tweeting at Myers about it too. And especially for competitive professionals, I get why they would feel so upset and why a lot of pros have the same mentality that 801 Strider does of not taking it so seriously. And I think that's a lesson we all could learn. If the professionals are learning to cope with lag by saying, okay, whatever, it's online, we're trying not to take it as seriously as possible. And I know for a competitive player that's really hard to do. For the 99.9% of the rest of us that are just casuals, and admit it, we are really all casuals, we can probably learn to take a step back and try not to get so upset either. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're playing a game that doesn't feel good to play or doesn't make you happy, why are you playing in the first place? Just go play Doom or something. Anyway, that's my rant for today. I hope you all enjoyed another edition of Step by Step with a Casual Cody. This is JagTagger93 signing out. You have a good one.